This is a sea otter. And you can tell that it's a sea otter and not a river otter or a land otter. Are there land otters? I don't think there are. Because of the markings on his face. So I gave him a pale face and then a darker solid body. This was lovely to work up and relatively cheap. The main difference between it and quite a lot of my other patterns, I mean, primarily this has been in my son's bed for several days, so it's slightly flatter than it was when I made it. But I had a lot of fun making the positioning because that's the sort of quintessential view of a sea otter lying on its back, eating its lunch on its tummy. I very carefully positioned it so that's the way that it would be presented as a toy. Lying on its back, I lined up the front and back legs and the tail with the back position, give it a little tilt to the head, and you can change your toy's head positions, by the way, just by a couple of extra stitches with a needle. I know not all crocheters are needle fans, but if you get a yarn needle or a tapestry needle, relatively thick one, and you insert it through somewhere relatively low down on the neck of your toy and somewhere a bit higher up, you can change the position of the head for your toy quite easily. And it gives a nice sort of characteristic look. When I made some turtles and tortoises recently, I used that trick to tip the head back, so it sort of had that sort of supercilious tortoise expression going on. So yeah. An aside for you, otters do, despite what some people will have you believe, have ears. They're just really small. So we have these little tiny unclosed magic circle ears. I'll cover my face so it focuses on the otter. There we go. Sometimes technology is too clever for its own good. It's got safety eyes, but you're obviously welcome to sew on your own eyes if that's your preference. And I hand sewed the nose as well. Noses on sea otters are quite sort of more on the triangular end of the spectrum and quite prominent in the centre of the face. So there we go. I think if you're relatively experienced with crochet, you'll work this up pretty quickly because there's no sort of fiddling about with colour changes really. There's just the one colour change here within the face. The different sections of the body are hand sewn together, but as you see there, it's very simply done. You don't need to sort of have any sort of movability or anything. I just recommend that you come around the edge there and then tack a couple of stitches in the inner leg to hold it in that sort of upright and inward position so that he's swimming around on his back. Anyway, let me know what you think and happy crocheting!